Okay, the City of Marine City Commission meeting for Thursday, June 6th at 7 o'clock is called to order. Can we have a moment of silence to send our positive thoughts and prayers to those in our community that need our support, and let us please remember that today is the 80th anniversary of D-Day. And now please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hey, roll call, please.
Commissioner Bryson. Here. Commissioner Hunter.
Here.
Commissioner Clausen.
Here.
Commissioner O'Brien.
Here.
Commissioner Rohr.
Here.
Commissioner Ross.
Here.
Mayor Vandenbosch.
Here.
City Manager Atkins.
Here.
Okay. Item 4 for approval of the agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, carries. Under 5, presentations, proclamations, and recognitions, we have none this evening. On item 6 for public comment, anyone is welcome to address the City Commission. Please state your name, limit your comments to 5 minutes. The Commission will not respond, but we will follow up as necessary. And please remember to direct your comments up to the Commission and myself as the Chair. Anybody wish to speak?
There's some people just walking in.
This is the open format.
Yep, the public comment open to speak at the podium. Private. Yep.
Good evening. I'm Norman James Harris III. I reside at 532 Bruce Street in Marine City. I've had some problems lately, and I've had little to no cooperation out of your police department. I am extremely disappointed. I have filed complaints before. I would really appreciate it if someone could take care of this problem. We have multi-duplexes in my residential neighborhood, which the one in question, the police have been at my house 5 times for felonies from the people that have been in this duplex, and it's not supposed to be there. Now, I don't feel as a homeowner in this community I should have to sell my house over a business that is being illegally operated or not properly maintained in my neighborhood. I don't appreciate having my windows shot out with BB guns. I don't like my new truck vandalized while it's in the driveway. I do not appreciate people making death threats against me when I'm doing my civic duty. And if you think you can intimidate me by doing this, you're sadly mistaken. The only thing you're going to do is really piss me off. That's it. And I'd really appreciate it if we could clean up this area and do what's best for the community. This is what I try to do. You know, I cut the neighbor's grass if they can't cut it. I shovel snow. I've been in that house for 24 years. The only time the police have been at my home is when extenuating circumstances from the rental units cause a problem. So, you know, as a senior, I would like to take my house and turn it into a presentable piece of real estate in our community with my 401k and having it almost paid off completely. But, you know, if I got to shell out money for vandalism, why would I do this? If I come out to my truck and I see a syringe laying down the ground, and I know that quite possibly this is the problem with this unique individual, or if I got to have cameras up, alarms on, and the rest of that at my home, and keep a loaded gun in my house, I don't want to live in a community like that. I really don't. And I don't think anybody in this room wants to live in a community like that. This is Marine City. This is why we're here. It's supposed to be a quiet resort town, more or less, good place for seniors, our children. I don't want any child walking down the street picking up a needle off the ground. I really don't. But if you could help me out with this, I'd greatly appreciate it. I know I don't spend any real time in here. This is only probably fourth time in the 24 years I've been in this town I've been here. But, you know, I pretty much keep to myself, and unless it really gets to this point, I don't bother. But thank you.
Have you made any appointment with our city manager to talk
Have I?
to him? Yeah.
No, sir, I haven't. No, sir.
All right.
I haven't.
I'll get the information from the chief.
Okay.
For your contact information, and we'll look into the issues that are happening there.
Yep. You know, I appreciate that he wants to make a living, you know, additional income by splitting a big home into several units, but just check out your clientele. Everything's online. It's very easy to check up on people. Hey, whoa, let's not say we did. You know? Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I appreciate your patience with me. Have a good day.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else? Okay, seeing nobody else, then we'll move on to item 7 for approval of the minutes. And I get a motion to approve the city commission meeting minutes of May 16th, 2024.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes as presented.
Support.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. And can I have a motion to approve the city commission closed session meeting minutes of May 16, 2024?
So moved.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. For item 8 under the consent agenda, we have the meeting minutes of the Planning Commission, April 8th, 2024, the Pension Board meeting minutes of January 23, 2024, the Pension Board Retiree Healthcare meeting minutes of January 23rd, 2024, the Historical Commission meeting minutes of October 17th, 2023, the Tifa Board minutes of January 16th, 2024, the special event permit for the Little Bubble Family Fun Day, the special event permit for Empowered Nutrition Maritime Days Drumming Fundraiser, and the business license for Oasis on the River LLC. I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, items A through H as presented.
Make a motion that we approve the consent agenda, items 7A through 7H, as presented.
Support.
It should be under 8A through H.
It's 7, Madam Mayor.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm pressing the wrong number down there. Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Bryson.
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Brien.
Yes.
Commissioner Rourke.
Yes.
Commissioner Ross.
Yes.
Mayor Vandenbosch.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay. We have no items removed from the consent agenda, so we're on to next, financial business. A, expenditures including payroll of $792,618.02. I have a motion to approve those expenditures in that amount, including payroll of $792,618.02.
I'll make a motion that we approve expenditures for $792,618.02.
Support.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Just for the benefit of the community, the reason why it's fairly high this time is 2 of the expenditures that we approved at last month's meeting were realized this month. Those were for the engineering that F&V did, which will be recovered by the grant that we received for the Safe Drinking Water Fund, and also the purchase from Kennedy of a pump for our wastewater treatment facility. So that's all. Thanks.
All right, roll call, please.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Brien.
Yes.
Commissioner Rourke.
Yes.
Commissioner Ross.
Yes.
Mayor Vandenbosch.
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, next, engagement of services for the annual audit. Could I have a motion to approve the engagement of the audit services agreement with the firm of McBride, Manley and Company as presented, not to exceed $44,250?
I'll make a motion to approve the engagement of services contract with McBride and Manley, not to exceed $44,250.
Support.
Any discussion? Hey, roll call, please.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Brien.
Yes.
Commissioner Rourke.
Yes.
Commissioner Ross.
Yes.
Mayor Vandembosch.
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson.
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Yep.
Motion carried.
Okay, next would be the Michigan Municipal League Workers' Compensation Insurance Renewal. I have a motion to approve the annual workman's compensation insurance to the Michigan Municipal League Workers' Compensation Fund.
Make a motion, we approve the annual workers' comp insurance to the Michigan Municipal League in the amount of $9,521.
Support.
Okay, any further discussion? That amount, the 9,000 was the dividend amount?
So there were two different amounts. We had a return of a dividend amount. I believe it was, and if you allow me just a moment, Mayor, I'll get into the memo here. I believe it was 90, let's see. Dividend amount credit was $9,127, which is very good, again, this year. And then also, the policy renewal itself was $911 less on its face than last year's policy. So there are two different pieces. One, fairly good dividend, a little higher than last year, and then also a decrease on the policy cost.
You only had one minor claim on the policy in the last year, so I think that helped you out a lot. Speaks well for your programs and your supervisors and your employees. The dividend's a good thing to get. MML's been doing that for years, and you got a nice chunk this year.
Yeah, I think the fire authority, we got a $3,000
Yeah.
dividend, or two, it almost
Yeah.
cut it in half. Yep.
And because we are members of the Workers' Compensation Fund pool, we benefit by getting that dividend because we're actually participants and owners of the pool. Whereas with other carriers, you don't have the opportunity to be able to get returns on dividends. So
Yeah.
it's worked well for us for a number of years. And again, very good coverage, very cost competitive.
Madam Mayor, if I may, who was the second? Was it Commissioner O'Brien?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and when you're ready, roll call, please.
Commissioner O'Brien.
Yes. Support. Aye.
Commissioner Rourke.
Yes.
Commissioner Ross.
Yes.
Mayor Vandembosch.
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson.
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay. And next we have the NIHART Experience Study. And for the calendar years of 2018 through 2023. Can I have a motion to approve NIHART to complete an experience study for calendar years 2018 to 2023 as required by Public Act 202 for the cost of $5,000?
Make a motion to approve NIHART to complete the experience study for calendar years 2018 through 2023 for a total of $5,000.
Support.
Motion and the support, any discussion?
Can we get just a little background on why this is needed to be done? I know it's PA 202 requires this, but a little background on.
There are a couple of pieces. Good question, Commissioner. One, the Public Act does require it. Number two is generally also required by generally accepted accounting practices to be able to do this periodically, but is a value for us for the retirement system to be able to look at the rating, kind of a census pool of how many members do we have in the retirement system? What is the average rate? What is the mortality rate table? It affects our rates as we go forward, and it really is a good judgment of where we stand on managing. We tie it in with the management profile for investments and things to make sure that we keep our proper funding up. Funding does fluctuate from year to year in the pension system. This is a way to be able to make sure that we are using a proper calculation method to get that correct funding. A good example when I talked about this mortality rate piece is, you know, the average life expectancy is really what that is. And that has changed significantly in the past couple of years, a little pandemic issue that we had. That affects our dollar amount obligations too. We may have had a higher rate, we won't know until the study's done, but we likely had a higher life expectancy before. It has generally adjusted down. That has an impact for us on our required funding which usually means that our funding would also shift likely lower if the mortality rate goes lower. If it goes higher, it shifts up. But we need this to make sure that we're, regularly on an annual basis, funding the amount to ensure that that pension system is there for the employees that are retired. That's kind of a long story made a little bit shorter.
So when this came up, I did a little bit of look into it myself to understand what we were voting on and what this looks like. And for the public's benefit, this does not affect how much we're giving as pension, providing as pension to any of our retirees. It's not like a move to reduce or anything like this. It's so we can project costs in the future.
Yeah, doesn't change any of the contractual obligations we have. What it does is just regulates our funding to make sure that we maintain a proper percentage of funding in for the retirement
You'll
system.
have some guidelines that require that you maintain a certain level of funding going forward. This helps you gauge that. A lot of communities do these studies, they use various sources, but it's pretty important to make sure you're properly funding your programs.
Thank you.
Kind of important to note too, on that public act that's referenced, I just think this is important, probably more for the public than, well, for everybody, but certainly for the public to understand that several years ago, when we started to have the economic downfall with the recession in 2008, many people heard about communities that were having significant problems. They were now underfunded, upside down in their pension systems, and that then precipitated legislative action to make sure that these type of studies are done so you have level, correct funding, because you had so many communities that had been fallen under the required amounts, or in some cases weren't funding their pension systems at all, and then couldn't meet their obligations. So that's the tie-in with that public act too.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Rourke,
Yes.
Commissioner Ross,
Yes.
Mayor Vandebosch,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Brien.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay. Next, approval of the 2024 tax rate. Can I have a motion to approve the 2024 tax rate as requested, prepared, and presented?
So moved.
Support.
Okay. And now for discussion. And, oh, yeah.
Feel bad, we had you come to the meeting and you haven't spoken yet.
All right. The tax rate this year, I think it's important to note, I've been getting a lot of calls about taxes going up or our taxes going up. Our tax rate is not changing. It's actually reduced this year because of the Headley rollback. So what might be changing is assessed values, but our actual tax rate, we had to reduce it so much. And the rate, I think it's 15,707, or that is that's the amount we have to use based on the Headley rollback. So I don't know if there's any questions on that. It's all state mandated, calculated that way. And based on the approval rate, the 20 and the reductions, that's where we're at.
Right, 23 was that, and 24 is actually less, 15.
Yes, yeah, it's less.
981.
Yep, yep, it's
So-
less this year because of the Headley rollback. Yep.
Now, we can't, like you mentioned, we can't control assessed
No.
values. That's-
No.
They can only bump up by a certain amount, but that's the assessor, right?
Yep.
But from your city tax perspective, a little bit of a gift
Yes.
went down.
Well, a gift for them,
Yeah, not for us.
Unfortunately, assessed values are up, so, your tax bill might actually be increased, but it's not because of the rate the city's charging.
Right.
Correct.
Yep.
Correct. That's the important distinction.
Yes.
Yeah, we were.
I was happy to see that we actually had that reduction in ours. That was good news.
Any other questions?
Will this affect, do you think, any of the budget that, we had laid out?
No, because when I had calculated it for the
fraction.
budget, it actually only reduced like 0.0001
Yeah.
more than I had originally thought it was going to calculate.
Okay.
And that basically happened because the county put on the veterans millage that adjusted that 0.0001. So, but our amount should not
So
change
we're
much.
within a few bucks.
Yes.
Perfect.
And generally, when we prepare the budget, we have a pretty good indication of where we're going to be.
Okay.
Based on estimates from the state. It can change, and our biggest factors in changing where we're at on total income really fall in a board of review assessment process. And by the time we're getting through the budget, the board of review has been completed. It's a March board of review. So our numbers are pretty solid. I think, as Katie said, a calculation change. There may be other millage pieces that change at the county level or with the state, with the school district, but ours has been relatively level. We are losing income from where we were. We originally started with a charter cap of, I believe, 20 mills years ago, and because of the Headley Amendment, that has continued to fall. This year, there has been some budgetary impact because of both the Headley Amendment and Proposal A. And Proposal A is the portion that affects the percentage of increase on assessed values. So statutorily, it can only go up a certain portion or the CPI. And again, that's a more important balancing act for us than the millage piece, because when you have high inflation and you have a reducing millage rate, that can be problematic. We had some other pickups that we did here with some budget adjustments, changes, investments that, again, I think balanced us with a perfectly balanced, budget, and not being in a position that we were going to have to start to significantly shift fund balance. So you're in a very good position. But I think, as we mentioned during the budget workshops, we have to watch this carefully, because if we have a repeat with high inflation and continuing adjustment of Headley, that can become problematic over time.
Yeah. Like you said, it was off 1/10,000th.
Yeah.
Like 0.001.
One, yeah,
So-
from the calculation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I ask if either of you have a sense of what this is going to look like over the next several years? And not to hold you to a prediction, it's hard to prophesize here, but Marine City is developing nicely in many ways, and so property values may be expected to increase, which could increase the tax that's paid. Is our tax rate likely to go up despite this current reduction?
No, our tax rate likely will continue to decline. The best we could expect was similar to last year, where we had no change.
Yeah.
But in all likelihood, we'll continue to slowly decline on our tax rate because of Headley. We will hopefully be in a good position to maintain our income portion because of reinvestments in people who buy new homes. The property becomes uncapped, so we get to get a higher percentage of the value. New construction, there are a number of new homes that are being built. Redevelopment of existing commercial retail properties that become new businesses, and some new construction. So I think with the two of those, and I kind of look to Katie, I think that we feel that we'll have a very good balance. But keep in mind,
The market.
if the economy implodes, the market stalls, inflation continues to go high, we don't want to see ourselves back in a 2008 situation, because that was devastating. It took 6 years to try to level back out after that. You didn't see a true beginning of any type of recovery until 2014, and has taken 6 years plus past that, throw in a pandemic. We're hopeful, but always cautionary.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And it's important to note, we're not bringing in any more money because the assessed values are higher. We're very level, but, one market change could easily shift that.
When I got on in 2010, that's when all the serious cuts, we cut a lot of employees, it was terrible. They figured at that time it was going to take at least 10 years to recoup.
So
Yeah,
beat that at least.
yeah, it was tough.
I think it's important to predict, it's going to happen, right? If you watch historically, it's going to happen. Just hopefully you're ahead of it so that you're prepared when it does happen.
Correct.
This is the importance of building a significant fund balance, your rainy day fund, because it doesn't rain anymore. It pours when it happens. So being able to have a healthy fund balance is important.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Katie.
Thank you, Katie.
So we still need to approve this, right?
Is there any other discussion? A roll call, please.
Commissioner Ross.
Yes.
Mayor Vandebosch.
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson.
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Brien.
Yes.
Commissioner Rohrig.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, on to unfinished business. A, Approve the contractor for the Tot Lot Playground Equipment installation. I have a motion to approve the installation of the Tot Lot Playground equipment by Game Time Sinclair Recreation in the amount of $21,450.
So moved.
Support?
Okay. And now for discussion.
I just want to thank you for
Yes.
getting
Yes.
this back on track. I know they had an opening, but your diligence on calling all these companies got it all back on track. So I really, really appreciate the staff getting this thing back in the,
And if anybody has had a chance to see it, we're very
Yeah.
pleased. It is in the, what we call settling stage right now, letting the concrete set up. Next week, we'll go back in and top dress the safety cushioning material. And then, under my report, I'll talk a little more about doing something for the community to officially dedicate and reopen this.
okay.
Very nice.
A lot of children are very excited right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good children, too.
Keep seeing, well,
Excited
they
when I
want
saw
to
it.
get up there.
Yeah.
Alright.
My wife was very pleased when she saw it driving by and she said there were a few kids on it. She was like, yeah, there's caution tape all around it. She said, that didn't keep them off of it.
Actually,
But-
some of
So
the,
please, don't use it yet, just.
some of the fencing,
For your own
snow
safety.
fencing is down.
Okay.
It's fallen down, so.
It may have had some help, but I'll let the guys know.
It wasn't me this time. No, but I want to second the thank you and appreciation for getting this moving. These things happen to where, we don't always know all of the construction or challenges that are come down, and this got moved in a very timely manner to get it up once we found the gap and was able to move. So thank you.
Yeah, but again, this is coming from the remaining T-Mobile grant funds.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's important for the community to understand and remember.
Okay. If nothing else, a roll call, please.
Commissioner Bryson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Brien,
Yes.
Commissioner Rohrig,
Yes.
Commissioner Ross,
Yes.
Mayor Vandembosch.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay. Now we're on to item 11 for new business. The request for water and sewer tap fee waiver. And then I will go ahead and let city manager, do you want to open that?
Sure. I believe I provided a good summary and background information in each of your packet. This evening, Mr. Beatty and the Duvall family are here to actually address this, and we'll ask them to come up to the podium and speak. But as the memo has indicated, many years ago, when Mr. Beatty had started a development on Gladys, he had to install utilities to the site, which is not a very uncommon practice when utilities are not in place. Mr. Beatty had asked for consideration on a waiver of tap fees. I do not have the ability to waive tap fees. Those are set by ordinance. And in all practical sense, tap fees, even when a developer installs their own utilities, are generally still payable to a municipality. However, in meeting with Mr. Beatty and his family, there was discussion that there had been a gentleman's agreement that happened years ago. I have no record on this. I believe the information they provided me in the meeting is essentially what happened. But any employee of the city is in the same position as the city manager. They have no ability to waive any said fees. And we searched, there was no record on any of the commission meetings or minutes that anything was ever approved for a waiver by the city commission, who are the only ones to do that. However, they are here to speak and plead their case. I told them the only action that I could do is put this on the agenda for the commission to hear their cause and review this. Keep in mind that there are other developers who have been in the same situation as far as having to put in their own infrastructure. Again, that is very common, but this is the only request that we've had for the waiver, and that has to come to you to hear this pleading from the family.
Is this a waiver of 6?
Yeah, how many taps are we talking?
Is it 6? I think there were 12 units originally.
I believe you have 6 lots remaining. 6 have been sold off to another developer who is developing and has paid for and not
Yeah,
requested.
That's what I was gonna say, is according to the memo.
Yes.
Did pay for the tap fees.
Correct.
So 6 of the 12 have been paid.
Hi, my name's Gary Duvall. I'm part of the development over there. Back in 2006, when we started this on DeGursey, we didn't have sewer on the south side of DeGursey. We took that out of our pocket to bring it across the road and down the first few lots that ended up being private residences. At our cost, at the time, Rick Ames was the DPW super, and we had an agreement that I didn't have to pay for the sewer ties, but I'd have to pay for the water ties naturally, because it was already on that side of the street and it was there. So, no cost us, we agreed, no problem. When we did the last one over there on DeGursey, Mike Hitrich was the DPW superintendent. He agreed, and we only paid a water tap-in fee because we paid for the sewer coming across. Since then, we paid for the rest of the sewer all the way down to DeGursey, but then we turned around, we sold the lots off to Sam Georges, which we gave up any claim to anything there anyway, so it didn't matter to us. Fast forward to today, we've developed Gladys Street, which is a public right-of-way, so technically, as far as any other developer goes, if they're building it on private property, technically nobody else can tie into that anyway. This is on a public street, so it is accessible to all the homes on the south side of Gladys Street whose water lines run through their backyards, through other people's yards to Metropolis Street. They'd be entitled to tie into this water line. My dad has set out $190,000 to bring those utilities down a public thoroughfare. We're just requesting that we get a waiver on the tap-in fees. Seeing as how they're already in place, we already paid a developer to install these water and sewer taps. They're in. The city has nothing they'd have to do, no man hours, no manpower, no money out of their pocket. So we're just requesting a waiver on this to make these lots a little bit more feasible to build on. That at what I say, we're close to 190,000 over there, 6 lots. Come on, we're almost up to $34,000 a lot just to break even. It's kind of hard. But we're just trying to cut every corner we can. So we're asking for a little help from the city.
How much is the waiver? How much in fees would that be?
It's about $4,000 per lot.
A little over 4,000 per lot.
But the other guy paid the tap.
Yes, the other gentleman for the other 6. Again, keep in mind originally this was a 12-lot development. 6 were sold off. The gentleman that purchased those has paid in full for all of the taps. Anybody else that ties into this, and once, again, to familiarize some of you who have been here for a while and to educate others who haven't been, when a developer comes in and extends the infrastructure into their project, they incur that cost, generally speaking. The city, after the completion of that, accepts it into the public system. So even though the developer has paid for this, it then becomes a public piece of the infrastructure, which means that after we've accepted this, the city is responsible for any maintenance from that day forward, water or sewer. Henceforth, the reason for extra tap fees is to recoup costs to maintain this over the years, along with the normal utility fees. So that's not uncommon. But again, once this was divided off, that other developer has already prepaid, and anybody else that will tie into this will have to pay. That's in our ordinances, has been for years, is pretty much the same in every other municipality. So water and sewer tap fees.
So the gentleman's agreement was for all 12?
It was just a standing agreement on the lots. And like I say, we sold off, we built 3 over there on private lots. The rest of it became a association.
Right.
There was another 6 lots over there. When we sold it off, we sold off the rights with it. He didn't want to pick it up or whatever. That's, you know.
Yep, I get it. Thank you.
Can you speak a little bit more to this development of utilities along this line that you all paid for? And what is this process like normally? Is this normal for developers to put in all these utilities, right? The cost?
It normally is, and what's usually done in a case where you have, and again, understand that this is, was a gentleman's agreement. In normal cases, if there's any trade-off, Mr. Davis, correct me if I'm wrong in this, but we've been around a long time.
You do a development
Normally, a development agreement is executed between the developer and the city saying, in exchange for installation of these utilities, which will become public upon acceptance, we may waive future tap fees for X amount of parcels or for the next X amount of years. Usually there is a written document that's recorded subject to approval by the governing body. That wasn't the case, and that becomes a difficulty for us because we again don't have a paper trail of these things. But it is a common practice in communities to do this type of process. And rare is the case that a municipality covers the cost for the extension of water, sewer, storm, and even streets. In most cases, those are accepted, built to public standards, accepted afterwards. But normally, tap fees remain in place because that is a practice across the board for any development in a community. So aside from some type of side agreement, usually in writing.
So let's just use for an example, we have another project coming in, and that person's probably gonna have to put in the infrastructure.
Yep.
And he's gonna have to pay for all the taps. But if we grant one person to waive it, we risk the problem of everybody from now on wanting the tap.
Yeah, and I think I cautioned in the memo, again, I understand the plight, and this
Yes.
request had to be made this way. It does become precedent
Yeah.
setting and could potentially cause the other developer to make a same pitch or plea to this commission for what's already been paid.
Yeah.
I will say, as kind of a devil's advocate on the nature of this being precedent setting, is that we will not be having these future developers making a gentleman's agreement because our DPW superintendents will know that they cannot make such an agreement and that it's deeply inappropriate for that to be the case, right? I mean, there is a little bit of historical context.
I would agree that that is likely not going to happen, or I could tell you in my tenure, we would be looking for a new DPW superintendent that would do such without following the procedure. Again, it doesn't though prevent this city commission from having a similar request from the developer of the other 6 parcels, or we have another developer who I believe is building 24 different. So again, in that sense, keep in mind,
Yeah. The problem is, the sad part is that they should never have entered into this agreement with you without the knowledge of the council. I mean, I've been on here a long time too, and I've never seen it happen on any of the projects we've done in the past. The tap fee, it's unfortunate, but they really didn't have the authority to do it.
I guess in my own defense, the only thing I could say is it's a public street, faces a public right of way. No, I didn't.
But it would be no, like Mariner's Landing when that went in. I don't think we know the roads. We still haven't picked up that.
right, we have a couple of developments that have private roads that they
Yeah.
have to maintain, the
But some of the
association.
infrastructure though,
But the infrastructure, they still pay
they
taps.
still put it in, they still had to
Yeah.
pay taps.
Yeah,
So,
even on the private streets.
yeah, in fact, we don't do the streets to this day, but we have to maintain that infrastructure. So, I mean, it is a common thing. I know Cotterville has the same thing. All the townships, I'm sure Bill could tell you.
Yeah, I've been through that, and I said, well, it's, the tap is there, and they go, no, you still have to pay for it.
Yeah.
So I had to pay for it.
Now, we have, is it fair to presume that some of this construction continued or development continued with this cost in mind? That they would not be paying this portion of it? Has that impacted the decision on development and process?
It sort of did, simply because of what we had to invest just in the underground. And for 6 lots, at almost $35,000 a lot, just to break even, it's almost, it was almost futile to do it at that point.
Well, I have several units I work for, and I can't get away from that. I mean, it's who you have to pay it, and it's the same in all the communities. It's the only way that you can control who's tapping on where. And basically, they put the cork in, and then they go in and put the shutoff valve on your property, right on the edge of the property. But your line it may be on the other side of the street. So. And then you have to pay for the boring, so if that's the cost of it. But the other thing, and in the municipalities, is I look at it all the time, and the last straw is the commission, the boards have the decision. Your employees can't make decisions for the board.
So let me ask you this, when that line went in, did the city still put all the taps in?
No,
Who did the taps?
our underground company did all of our taps. Our stems are in, our shut-offs are in, our sewer taps, everything's done.
But do we know that that's up to the standard for the city?
It was accepted into the system at that point.
Okay,
And it was inspected and accepted.
all right.
It
was done-
It's now part of our system.
And that again, Commissioner, is not abnormal for a developer to because this is, a plotted or planned development. So generally, they have all of the parcels identified and, having those taps in. It makes sense to do that at the time of construction.
Yeah.
A question for city attorney. We know that the person that entered into the agreement with them didn't have that authority to do that. Is there any issues with apparent or implied authority? If this were for any challenges on it?
Well, I mean, somebody could argue that, of course, that the DPW director acted as an arm of the city and made a promise. I think what the applicant is saying is that in their budgetary process for the development, they relied on that promise to go forward, recognizing that 4 times whatever was going to be deducted from your cost. But the city commission wouldn't be bound by the decision or the oral promise made, by that person. Although they could argue, implied or apparent authority.
You couldn't get him to come here to say it?
I think that we reached out to Mr. Ames and haven't received a call back
Yeah.
to see if he recalls, the conversation or whatnot. Mike, I haven't been able to get ahold of Mike for a while on anything. When he retired, he really retired. But we did reach out to Mr. Ames to try to
Yeah, we just tried to.
get his recollection.
Yeah, it's really a sad case. It's a tough decision for the board.
Do we have any precedent as a body for reduced tap fees? Percentage-wise, 20%, any case like this within the history? that
Only
we
in
know?
a downtown redevelopment case, that was all done in writing, the trade-off between a brownfield redevelopment and those type of things. Again,
Yeah.
that's common in a development agreement to do, and even in a residential development agreement, but we have none of those, and we have just the brownfield piece. That was an entirely different set of circumstances, and again, all predicated on, we're doing this in return for this, and you're getting this, and here's the written plan and document approved by the commission.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? Is there any motions?
I'll make a motion that the tap fees remain paid, and they have to pay for any taps that are there, that they're doing. So just, that's part of it. I've been doing construction, and I've done shopping centers. And if you're in construction, you know there's a tap fee. And you don't deal with the DPW or somebody else to get reduction.
So that would be a motion to deny the waiver.
Deny it, yes.
I'll support that. And it's really a bad situation. I'm really sorry that you got put into the situation by somebody that didn't have the authority. But it makes it difficult for us for future development, is what the problem we run into.
Any other discussion? Any roll call, please?
Commissioner Hendrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Brien,
Yes.
Commissioner Berg, Yes. Commissioner Ross.
Yes.
Mayor Vandenbosch.
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson.
No.
Motion carried.
Thank you for your consideration.
On to B, citywide VoIP phone system proposal. Can I have a motion to waive competitive bidding for the approval of the upgrading of the city VoIP phone system and the purchase from CTS companies?
So moved.
Support.
And discussion.
Mayor, if I can make a comment, even though you have taken a motion to waive the competitive bid, and Mr. Bell can answer the rest, he did solicit bids and proposals from the companies that he has listed. So it had to be done on an individual basis because they had to assess the system that we have in place, the capabilities of technology to support this. So IT and technology pieces are always a little different when it comes forward, but that is kind of an explanation of proposals versus a bid by having them individually come and evaluate and present to the city. And the rest can be answered by our esteemed clerk.
Did you want me to go on the whole presentation right now
I mean, is there?
of the system?
Sure.
Sure, yeah,
Okay.
abs-
All right, so over the course of what seems like 8 months now, I've been promising this, looking at upgrading our phone systems throughout the city. We're currently with Comcast. I believe we've been with them since 2018. It is a voice over IP phone system, so it's all run through the internet. Technologically advanced over the old digital or analog phone systems that most of us probably still have in our homes if you still have a home phone. But I think with these proposals here that you guys have the documentation on, they offer a lot more services than what Comcast offers us. I did meet with Comcast to see if there were other options that they could provide with their current system. Unfortunately, what we have with Comcast is what we have. That there are no other features that they can offer. There's nothing more advanced in their system with the Business Voice Edge than what we currently have. Looking at these other companies to kind of compare them equally throughout the 5, we were looking mainly at, and in discussions with city manager, the treasurer, police chief, we're looking at what we need as a city to help us function efficiently and get things done. I think what these offer, they offer video conferencing throughout all of these platforms, which I think is crucial to government business, especially since COVID. A lot of meetings can be done that way. I think that's more efficient for us instead of getting in a car, driving somewhere, maybe an hour, 2 hours away, and having those meetings. So that was a big draw for us, a big plus for us. Another thing is, and this was big with the police chief, and even when I was at the police department, the ability to have call recording on those phones. From that law enforcement standpoint, it could be crucial at some moments or some calls that come in. There are different ways that you can do this with those phones. They can either always be on, they can always be off, or they can be on demand. So it doesn't always need to be recorded, but something in that situation, if you take a threat, for example, that comes in maybe to the police department, they could on demand press record for that phone call. Now they have that as some sort of evidence. Twofold with that, and in our city offices, an example would be if we have, a disgruntled citizen or something that is not happy, they start raising their voice or anything, we can hit record on that. We can record that phone call as more or less of a quality assurance for us. If a complaint is made from that employee, we have that as backup. We have that as something that's needed. Another feature of this as well that I think is beneficial to us is there is I call it the team chat feature that will allow us throughout the offices, throughout our office, we can chat through their software. So all of these that are available, well, I shouldn't say all of them. I believe 4 out of the 5 have what is called a soft phone feature, which is software that is actually put on your desktop. We can put it on our tablets. It can be on our cellular phones that has a software you can dial right from there. So your phone call you could take right from your computer. So with that comes the chat feature. which I think is beneficial. You know, I'm at trainings. I take a week-long training. Katie was at a week-long training. Scott is out, you know, at trainings or meetings. I think it's a quick, efficient way. Instead of picking up that cell phone, if we're on our computer, we can see if Scott's online. We hit Scott, hey, do you have this document or something? He can send that document right through that chat. So instead of getting out of that, getting into your email, pushing it back and forth, I think that's a good feature. And again, when you look at the different departments around the city to get fast, efficient workflow between here, the police department, between here, DPW, vice versa, we can get that done. Last but not least, the other feature that I think stood out to us was the digital fax option. With what we're paying now, it's pennies on the dollar through Comcast to have that digital fax line to come in through our fax machine, that printer. This will give us the ability to have a digital fax line in each office. So one here at City Hall, one at the police department, one at DPW. It would come in electronically through an email. It would still go through a phone number, is what they explained to me. And depending on which one we choose, we'll get more in detail. But it would go through a phone number, but then come through an email. So now we save on paper. We save on the ink costs as well. So it comes through. If we need to print it, we print it. But we all know that just like emails, you get junk faxes as well. So to me, it's a waste of paper. With that, I mean, this was a long process for me trying to get everything in order to compare apples to apples, what would work best for, you know, us as a city to function. And in this quote here, what we're currently paying for Comcast is about $770 per month. So there is a little bit of an increase even with the recommended company of CTS. But what really drove me to them was their customer service and their personability. Out of the 5 quotes that you see here, they were the only ones to come on site other than Comcast to meet with me. Everything else was done over virtual meetings, which, I mean, that's the way of the world. That's fine. But to get that good in-person customer service nowadays, you miss it. And to me, that was a huge factor, in my opinion. I know it's not my choice. And I've told all these companies that this is not my choice, but I can make a recommendation. That's what kind of sold me on them to recommend them was that personability, their customer service. They are local. I believe their main office is out of Birmingham, but they do have an office in Port Huron. And their main technician for the VoIP services lives in Anchor Bay. So if there's any issues, they have assured me that if anything goes wrong, our technician is 15 minutes away from you. We have other technicians that live in the area. They are local. So between them and BSB Communications, they're the only 2 local companies. I believe BSB is out of St. Clair Shores or somewhere in the Macomb area. The other 3 are national companies, pride themselves on customer service, but I don't think you're getting that same value as you would somebody local, that if you needed to, you could pick up the phone, they could come here, they could problem solve an issue for us. And I've broken down all the pricing there for you. And again, I think even paying a little bit more with CTS, which was my recommended company, we're getting far more features than what we get with Comcast. And their main thing too, I want to point out, I believe I put it in the memo, they did not provide me a price with buying the hardware, i.e. the phones, because they said it is more beneficial for us to lease those phones, because if there's a problem with a phone, I call them, they ship us a new phone, we're like that. So there's a quick turnaround to where if we own the phones, you'd have to call, you put in a service ticket, you may not get one for a week, may not get one for a month. They're leased, they're always under warranty, they will replace them at any point in time, so you're never down. And these are all cloud-based as well.
Mayor, if I can, and that's an important point I just want to tag on to, where we are right now with 6 years in with Comcast. The framework, the backbones of the system with Comcast aren't going to change. But the phones we need to update. We would have to purchase all new phones or get into some other type, and I doubt they would do a lease piece, it would be a purchase. This is about the life expectancy you get. And talking with Jason on this, you know, we have an ability that as technology changes, it's a modification of the lease piece. We're not going to be stuck in having to purchase every 4 or 5 years. In this case, we're probably past that. So the technology, as much as it changes, as quickly as it changes, and as costly as it is, that was a benefit, I think, out of this proposal versus many of the others, is to have that lease option so you can stay fresh on the technology hardware portion of it.
And one more thing to point out too with that, the CTS quote there, you can see that it's more à la carte, which I think is beneficial to us because I don't think we need, like with the other ones, if you're buying the 23 seats for the 23 phones, you have to get all of those features on all of those seats. I don't think we need the team chat, so to speak, at the 2 phones at the water plant or the wastewater plant. So with the CTS, we can move those up or down if we need them, or even here, you see the meeting integrations, we have 2. We figured it was best to have one at City Hall that we could share. If there's anything that we need to be on at the same time, we're usually on the meeting, either with Scott, myself, Scott and Katie, and then one at the police department be the same thing. They would have their own dedicated. And I think if we need to add, we add. You can see there it's another $29 or $20 a month. So to add that, I don't think it's a major change in pricing with it. Any questions?
No, looks like you did a lot of good research.
All right. It was exhausting, but I think all for a good cause.
How many proposals did you get?
5.
So why do we need a motion to waive competitive bidding?
I mean, I guess we don't. According to our purchasing policy, I do not believe we do.
No, I don't think you do.
I
Because
think
it-
getting the quotes is the
Yeah.
same as the bidding fees.
Yeah.
Qualify the quotes
Yes.
with the bids. Okay.
So then we can move, we can just ignore that.
Yeah, we can just.
A motion was made, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
on the table right now, so.
Yeah, and I
And
think I
support
kind of addressed that at the beginning, we really didn't need to because we did get the quotes,
We
but
could just vote it down.
Can I just rescind it?
Take that.
rescind or modify?
Yeah. I will rescind my motion to waive competitive bidding.
All right, I'll make a motion then that we accept Jason's proposal to utilize CTS at the price of $871.60 monthly.
Support.
Any further discussion?
Just, again, for everybody's benefit, it's $101.60 more than we currently pay and has a ton of extra features and includes, hardware and everything else, so sounds like a good deal and hopefully will help your engagement with the city.
And Commissioner, if I could point out just one more thing too, because you made a good point. This will also decrease costs on the other side of the Comcast bills as well. Because there are some other phone lines that we pay for on there that would no longer be needed by switching to this. So,
Next topic, or a
Yeah.
couple more or something, but right, yeah, good point, and thanks. That's all I had.
Roll
So
call, please. Oh,
we have a motion, right? And a second.
roll call?
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Brien,
Yes.
Commissioner Rourke,
Yes.
Commissioner Ross,
Yes,
Mayor Vandenbosch,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Have Jason come to my house and work on my rotary dials. See if we can upgrade those.
and yes, it was the next topic.
Good luck.
All right, item C, the Comcast fiber proposal. Do you want to speak on that first before we?
I can, yes. The Comcast fiber proposal, it is in the agenda to bring to you tonight. Unfortunately, the information that you have in front of you is incorrect. I received a call late this afternoon from a new representative at Comcast, because unfortunately, the gentleman that I received that proposal from is no longer working for Comcast. Our new rep reached out to me end of last week, early this week, just to confirm what we were working on. I gave him all the information to bring him up to speed, and again, late this afternoon, maybe 3:30 or so, he had called and said, unfortunately, none of that is correct. You would be looking at a higher cost for construction, and the information you provided was not accurate, as there were no technical site surveys done for that fiber proposal that was given to us, and it would all have to be reworked. I would look for you as a commission to table this for now. I am working with Comcast still to see if we can be provided a solution to bring fiber in to the 3 buildings that are on the memo there, the city offices, police department, and DPW. at hopefully no cost. If they can still cover construction, it would just be that monthly cost. But when you look at the grand scheme of things, he told me even that 1,500 megabits per second is not even something Comcast offers. So I think this whole proposal that is given is completely incorrect and needs to be reworked. I have been given assurance by him that they have multiple engineers working on this for us and multiple higher level executives at Comcast working on this to get us a solution that's viable.
We think we know why the other Comcast rep is no longer there.
Yeah,
Sounds like.
apparently.
All right.
Okay.
So can we just make a motion to postpone this until he gets the information? All right, I'll make a motion that we postpone the Comcast fiber proposal until the clerk can get the proper information from Comcast.
Support?
Any other discussion? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. On to D for city website upgrade. Would you like to provide us that information?
All right.
First, in a proposal?
I sure can. Okay, another one I've been working on for what seems like quite a few months now. I've been promising. Finally done. I can say that I had pricing from 3 companies. We are currently with Civic Plus. Since I have been in, even started the interim role as city clerk, I had heard that we were due for an upgrade from Civic Plus as their platform was out of date. I still have not received word on when that's supposed to be. It was supposed to be a year ago, and I still have not received word. I reached out to Civic Plus multiple times to provide a quote for what we were looking for. I never heard back. As you all know, the clunkiness of our current website is there. I don't think it works, and I've brought up this concern before, and I know city manager kind of shares this with me. If we're more than 3 clicks to find information, we've lost the residents. I think the information needs to be more accessible, needs to be more available, allow us to be more transparent as a government. The 3 companies you see here allow us to do that. Very, very different price ranges, as you can see from the proposals and from the memo here. What we did going into this, we were looking for basically a complete website redesign, the web hosting altogether, as well as some add-on features that, again, would promote that transparency between the government and the public. Some citizen reporting modules, some mass text and email notifications out to the citizens were a few of them. Some interactive forms that would have been on the website for people to just submit them through instead of coming in here or making more than 3 clicks to find them on a website. Just anything that can make them easier. When we went through that, a lot of them, those were add-on features, add-on fees. As you can see, I'll point out Granicus specifically. That was one of the first ones I went to because we currently have their agenda and meeting minute software. Love the platform, love what they can offer. I think Scott does as well. The price, unfortunately, not so much. I don't think it's something that we can sustain at this time. Revise was another one. There are some local municipalities that use Revise. Marysville is one of them. I believe Port Huron as well uses Revise for their websites. And they have changed a little bit over the years, you know, from where they were in the past. I think it's more new age where they're at. Again, same thing, and I know some of these numbers can be a little complicated here with this. But again, main thing we were looking for was that website redesign and web hosting. If we wanted those add-ons, we figured we could add them on at a later date if we needed to, but that website was the biggest thing with that. My recommendation is Munibit. As you can see, the pricing is far, far less than the other 2 companies there. Munibit specializes in smaller municipalities, smaller government websites. So they understand what smaller governments come up against with budgetary concerns and what they're looking for to connect to their residents. So the price you see there for them, the $1,668 annually, that's discount if you pay it upfront. Annual if you pay it month, there's a little more cost to that. Currently, right now, I believe we are paying to about $2,800 annually for Civic Plus. So that's even a reduction from what we're paying currently. The city of Fenville uses them. as a website provider, I did reach out to their, I believe it is their city manager, city administrator. They just went to this at the beginning of the year and they love it. They said it's very easy to use on the back end from an administrative standpoint. Their citizens are engaging with it. They seem to like it as well. The information is there. It's easy to find. And the other thing to point out too, with any of these options here, our current meeting minute and agenda software can be integrated into any of them. So I think it's important to note that. With Munibit, you get some included tools, is what they call them. I think it's things that we're looking for right now. And with those other add-ons of the citizen reporting modules, there are some third parties that we can probably get that will fully integrate into their websites. And city manager and I are looking at that as well to see kind of what we can do for that. But what they offer that's all included in that pricing are some things that I think would still benefit us now as a city.
And that Fenville site, I mean, I didn't know a whole lot about Munibit. I knew more than I wanted to know about Revise from a previous life experience. We'll leave it at that. That Fenville site is a wonderful site, easy to use, has a lot of info, and as Jason has mentioned, we believe that we can go through some third-party sources to add some citizen reporting modules and other pieces and still be way ahead of where we are currently at a website that is a nightmare at best to maintain. So sometimes you get what you pay for. I got to tell you, I know some friends who live in Fenville. They're very familiar with the city website and said compared to what they had and where they are now, and they had one of these others previously, it's a great site.
Do they do the drone shots for you too?
I'm not sure that's included, but
I think they'd have a resource. We may have a couple as well, so.
Okay.
Yeah, we do.
And I think that's a cool feature that you pointed out. The video can be integrated into their website.
Yeah.
Currently, we cannot. We can't integrate any video in to our website
all right.
without knowing source code and everything else.
We have to become programmers.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
No, it's a neat website. I looked at it too. And the mayor's looking at it right now.
I looked at some of the revised websites on my phone, and they were just like basic, nothing. I certainly wasn't impressed, and they had an awful lot of gobbledygook in their stuff they sent you. They went on and on about how wonderful they are and all over the country and stuff, but I thought the Munibit was, especially after I looked at the prices on the third one, yeah.
They were really to the point.
Yeah.
Well, and they were one of the last ones that provided a quote. City manager and I
Yeah,
kept
they
getting
were
emails from them,
way out.
let's do a demo, and they were one of the last ones, and I'm like, well, this is kind of like blessing in disguise, because this is probably one of the better ones for the price point we were looking at.
Yeah.
We become great friends with Kate at Munibit.
Yes.
So, but it is nice, very responsive, which was also important for us on customer service, not just to try to sell you a product, but to answer all of your questions. And a small company and a small platform usually don't do that. They were amazing.
I'll add just a little bit that the mobile web layout is always different than like a standard
Yes.
browser, right? And Munibit seems to do quite well with mobile websites as well.
Yeah.
Very nice. Okay.
If discussion is finished, I'll make a motion that we accept the clerk's proposal of utilizing Munibit for $1,668 annually, which would be a savings of over $1,000 a year.
Very nice.
Support.
Okay, any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner O'Brien,
Yes.
Commissioner Rourke,
Yes.
Commissioner Ross,
Yes.
Mayor Vandebosch,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, on to E, the M-Terra environmental request for additional compensation. City manager.
Mayor, thank you. Commissioners, I have provided,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I have provided you some information in regards to a request that was purported to have been sent to myself and Mr. Ittrich at the end of last year. And as I've indicated, I never received the correspondence, and whether they had the correct email or didn't have the correct email. But what we did start to receive, and I think I had indicated to the commission previously, was a monthly invoice with this charge that said post-pandemic fee to the tune of about $400 a month. And it does not appear in our contract. There was an extension done with Emterra in 2022, and that was for a extended 5-year period of time and some modifications to a fuel surcharge, but no other indication of any other fee structure. So again, speaking with the city attorney early on when seeing the invoicing, we immediately started to question Emterra, provide us some background information. How did we get to this point? We've had months where the treasurer, Christina, our financial administrative assistant, has a slew of email, records back and forth with no answer. And then here, within the past 10 to 14 days, we had a phone call from our field rep saying, hey, my people in the office are saying you guys aren't paying your bill. And why aren't you paying this fee? And the dialogue was, well, why should we pay this fee? Where is the information stating that it's in the contract? Again, Mr. Davis and I conversed. I explained to our representative I would be glad if he would resend that email to me. I would share it with you as I did, and it's included in the packet, and we would have some dialogue, and I certainly could ask if you're interested in any consideration. However, it does not exist in the contract. The thought from the Emterra folks, again, not having it official, but getting it from our rep verbally is, well, we feel that we have the right to do this. This is something unforeseen for us. And again, I'll defer to Mr. Davis in his statement because he's reviewed the contract. I think that's a loose way to try to get a sticking point.
Yeah.
They've added a fee. They would like to charge the fee. In that memo or that email, you can see that they're doing us a favor by only charging us a portion of what they could charge us. We have not paid any of those fees, and that documentation has been presented to you for some enjoyable discussion this evening. And I just feel that it's not in the contract and it's very loose, but certainly the commission can do with what they choose. Our attorney, I'm guaranteeing, is going to chime in.
So there's a broader issue here as well. They're not the first ones to have asked communities for this type of fee. The basis is that there's a belief out there that when we went through the pandemic and people were staying home more, they generated more waste, and therefore the expected workload and tonnages that GFLs and priority waste and companies were managing were greater as a result, and they want a stipend for that. It's not in the contract at all, and it doesn't qualify as an event giving a trigger to this. But even further, we in Oakland County keep probably the most detailed records on waste hauling tonnages for 14 communities. And when this issue came up, sat through many meetings with companies wanting more money due to the pandemic. And I got to the point where at one of them I said, so if the tonnages went down during the pandemic, would you be willing to give us a rebate? And then I showed them the tonnages, and in most of the communities, the tonnages had either stayed flat or had gone down. And so absent data that would support the hypothesis that we worked harder as a result of the pandemic, I cannot recommend contractually that you pay this. And, they set it at $400. I don't know where that comes from or why it comes to that number. But I can just tell you my experience is that the tonnages haven't worked out in other settings. So I would recommend, absent a showing, that you decline this increase.
When's the last time we approved the contract? Wasn't it recently?
Well, we recently did an extension, and this wasn't raised during that process.
I agree, but we just did that, right?
22.
And how long is it
22.
for?
5 years.
5 years.
Okay, and here's the issue. Just like the city, when we do our budget, we add increases for fuel, and everything else we know is gonna go up. Insurances, everything else. What kind of business doesn't do that when they calculate out your contract?
Well, a lot of these contracts for waste hauling, they'll have either, you give them a choice, you can pick a fuel escalator, which some years works out to your advantage, or you can be tied to CPI, for increases. And sometimes that doesn't work out, but lately it's been decent. But we're in a contract that just does not qualify as a quote, force majeure, special event, uncontrollable event. And more importantly, you've received no proof that it's statistically, it would be interesting if anybody who's running a business could just say, look, let's just hit everybody for an extra 400 per month.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a bad business model, actually. But I think you would have to see these tonnages and there would be records on this because the tonnages are tipped at the landfill and they would know exactly what your disposal tonnages are year by year by year by year under the contract.
Did the tip fees go up at all at the dumps?
They haven't statistically been going up. Do they go up as a result of the pandemic?
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
no.
I do believe that the county landfill here had some adjustments, but they were very minor adjustments.
Yeah.
Also, keep in mind that in that renewal in '22, that extension, there was a change in the structure of the fuel surcharge, which we are paying as part of that renewal. So that was included in that extension in '22. And we actually have fewer households here over the course of this contract so far than we had when they started this contract. So we have less.
But I mean, they're getting us
residents.
for more than that. I mean, they're going after all sorts of stuff in here. Their wages, their people. I mean,
Well, yeah, I mean.
I get it, but our service isn't that spectacular. No offense.
The waste hauling companies have had trouble maintaining
Well.
staff.
Yeah.
They have had trouble getting younger people to be engaged in that business, but that's not part of your contract.
No, he's
It's our-
going in after 10 trucks. He's talking about 10 trucks and insurance and. Well, yeah. I mean, it's no different than us buying stuff for our DPW or our fire department, and
Yeah, but why wasn't it in the renewal? I mean,
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
They would have known about it. They would have
Right.
known
Yeah,
about
the
it.
pandemic is in 2020.
Right.
They did a renewal in '22.
22 would have
And they
shown.
didn't raise it.
They needed this.
so yeah.
So.
It was
At the
slightly
renewal.
after that they did raise it, though, because a citizen reached out to me, and may have reached out to you too, regarding it in earlier last year, earlier '23. And you and I discussed it, Scott, and, kind of went through one of the issues with the other municipality. I forget if it was St. Clair or, I know that they brought up Port Huron. But Port Huron was the one where they said, well, fine, we're going out and getting another company. And when they requoted, it was way higher than what they had done. So there is that risk.
You always had that risk,
You know.
correct. Yeah.
So, I have no interest personally in terminating the contract, but agree, Bob, if they don't have a footing to stand on or can't provide proof,
Bring us the data.
Yeah.
show the data. The data will set you free, as we say in the engineering world. In any case, but yeah, this has been discussed for a while, and I'm aware of it. I guess, what are they claiming in the end we are behind?
Well,
You have a total?
we just haven't been paying this.
Just the extra, right. I mean,
Yeah.
we've been paying our bill in full.
We pay our bill in full,
With the omission
According
of
to the
this.
contract.
according to the
Additional fee,
contract.
right.
We are just not paying this additional fee. We've asked for support. We have no support.
So what can they actually do to us if we don't pay?
Well, they could breach we both have termination rights. They could breach the contract, but this 400 isn't part of your contract.
Yeah.
So we're adhering to the contract
Yeah.
and making our
Understood.
payments. They're looking now to collect roughly $4,800. It's about 8 months that they've been assessing this, and it has been 8 months that we haven't been paying this. And again, we made requests right at the beginning of this to tell us, why are you charging this without knowledge of an email or whatever the case may be? We didn't hear anything. I don't know. I don't know how they operate their business, but I would tell you, as a city operating our business, if somebody didn't pay us after 30 days, we're asking them why we didn't get payment. We're inquiring 8 months, and now all of a sudden, here we go. We've been asking for answers and clarification.
Are other communities paying it? We don't know.
Don't know.
I know neighboring communities, I believe East China Township had this issue last year and did not. I believe they clearly did not accept any, extra charge.
In your motion, you could recommend that this payment not be made due to lack of support, justifying the.
Lack of justifiable data.
Right.
Yeah, I'd be interested in seeing their data if they would come forth and produce it for us to reconsider this at some point. But I will say in their letter, their email to you, Scott, I do not appreciate the way that they phrase this about the city of Port Huron is, you know, a bid that they were looking at going up by 38% with other companies. It's strong arm tactics.
Yeah.
That's deeply inappropriate.
Threat, yeah.
It's
Well, and I feel it's appropriate to share with you, I agree, to share with you that in my phone conversation, pretty much the comment from the representative was, if you choose not to pay this, we just may not renew with you. Well, there's always that chance.
Yeah.
There's always that chance. There's a chance on this side that the commission may say, hey, even though we've had good service, we may want to bid this out. So I thought that was kind of a backhanded strong arm tactic too, to say, fine, if you don't, we're not going to be your people.
Especially for $400 a month. It seems like a very bizarre business thing to.
Yeah.
But you spread it across a lot of accounts. Not a bad day for them.
Yeah,
But we need data.
yeah.
This letter isn't, and again, this should have
Yeah,
been
the-
built into their own contract.
The one was a very large Troy, and the data in Troy did not support that the pandemic raised the amount of tonnage
Yeah,
of trash being managed.
yeah.
In fact, it showed the opposite.
So we're looking for the motion.
I'll
not
make
to
a
approve.
motion to deny payment of any fees to Emterra that are not covered under our existing contract due to lack of supporting evidence.
support.
Have no other discussion? Get roll call, please.
Commissioner Rourke.
You're denying it, right? Then
To deny.
I agree.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
That's a yes.
Commissioner Ross.
Yes.
Mayor Vandenbosch.
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson.
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Brien.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, moving on to the Pazer Road Evaluation Authorization. I have a motion to authorize the city's engineering firm to move forward with the Pazer rating evaluation of the city streets and development of capital improvement action plan in the amount not to exceed $3,800.
Mayor, if I can, I also want to point out again, we were very fortunate to receive a grant from SEMCOG to cover their contractor they've selected, which is OHM Engineers, to perform the physical study. We will then get that data in a program called RoadSoft that will be provided free of charge, but it will have to be analyzed and then converted and placed into a capital plan. This is for the portion that would be our responsibility, to have our engineers at AEW put together this plan. They provided some quotes, at least as far as amount of time and dollar amounts, and I'm just asking for a pre-authorization more than less, that once we have that data, that we can have them go immediately to boil that down, put it into a workable plan to bring in front of the commission. We really want to keep things moving. And speaking with SEMCOG last week, they've indicated that they're hopeful that the physical work from their consultant for us and other communities will begin here by August. That's pretty aggressive. We want to be ready to go. So I'm glad to answer any questions. We've had good dialogue with AEW that as soon as they have the data, they will start to dissect it apart and develop our plan.
That was the only one I had was, this is our full responsibility, not part of the grant that we
Yeah,
mentioned.
this portion of creation of that plan, taking the raw data and developing the plan is ours. But again, I think we assumed months ago going into this, when we were talking about hiring engineers, that we were going to have to foot
Oh, yeah.
the entire bill. This is a pretty good savings of at least half or more of what our obligation would have been without the grant.
I'll make a motion, we approve the city engineering firm to move forward with the Pacer rating evaluation, as well as the development of the capital improvement action plan for amount not to exceed $3,800.
Support?
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Ross,
Yes.
Mayor Vandenbosch,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Brien,
Yes.
Commissioner Rourke.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, moving on to G, the Quadient prepaid mailing distribution and equipment agreement and purchase of the DS35 folding machine.
This one is not me.
Would have gone for the DS36, but DS35 is okay.
This is not as exciting as phones and internet, but.
Yes, it is.
So we currently have our agreement with Quadient. It was a 5-year agreement and is up. And basically what that is our postage meter machine and our folding machine for mail that folds and inserts in the envelopes. Yeah. So currently it's tedious. I mean, we send out about 2,500 tax bills a year, twice a year, and then about 750 water sewer bills a month. It takes an obscene amount of time to run them through this folding machine, put them in the envelopes, and run them through the postage machine. So, I am asking that we continue to go with Quadient. It is already formally bid out for us through the Sourcewell. And what this is going to allow us to do is have an updated postage machine, which is required by the post office. They're going to come take ours regardless if we go with this or not. It has to be updated. Every 5 years or so, the post office, I seem like I'm tired. Sorry. The post office requires a new scan bar that they use for mailing. So we're going to have to change no matter what. This is also going to allow us, this lease, to have a platform where we can upload our bills to and they will mail them for us. So instead of having somebody sit and stuff envelopes and run them through, saving an obscene amount of time each month and twice a year during tax time to send out mail. One of the pros I liked about this was with tax bills, our bill currently the way it is, there's a lot of information on it. We have to have that information on it. This allows us to have a cover sheet and have a newsletter or FAQ or something where we can send some information out to citizens at least twice a year. And it's all included in that one mailing. So we're only going to be paying like 11 cents per sheet instead of extra postage to send something else. We might as well send it at the same time. We could also do that with water sewer bills, but, you know, it will just streamline the process. So basically, this is their lease agreement for another 5 years. That includes that platform, the postage machine, and then the separate ask is to just purchase our current folding machine. There are going to be things periodically where we can't send it through the automated system, and we will have to have it folded here. I know Jason does some mailing for elections that cannot go through this system. But the lease includes 5,000 automated mailings already. So if we go over 5,000 a year, we'll have to pay like an a la carte amount. 5,000 is included. And a new machine with the new barcode to run postage through. And then any services they have, if we have a breakdown of a machine, if they have to come out and service it, it would be included in that cost as well. Go ahead.
So even if it's the one that we purchased?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. When I was talking to Jake, the representative from there, he said, we can lease you a new folding machine, but with less mail going through it. The one you have is plenty efficient, and it's probably more cost prohibitive for us to just call them out to service it as needed than to pay a monthly lease charge for a new one.
And then is 5,000 below the typical amount we send?
It is.
Given your-
So
okay.
tax bills is about 5,000 a year, and one of the other things is we prepay postage now. So we throw $2,000, $3,000 on the postage machine, and it could sit there for however long. With this, they will bill the next month for postage. So we're only going to be paying postage as we use it, instead of prepaying it in advance.
Do we have any postage currently left on our machine?
We do, they'll carry it over to the new machine. Yes, they did say that.
Do you need two separate motions on this?
I think that'd probably be best, one, to authorize the lease
And one
under
to,
the
yeah.
Sourcewell bid, the Sourcewell competitive bid, and the second, to purchase a current folding machine at $697.38.
Any waiving of competitive bidding needed then?
It has been competitive bid under Sourcewell, which
Oh,
is a
got it.
national bid.
Nice.
So,
Sorry. I guess the machine itself,
yeah.
that's sort of a weird one.
That lease piece is a Sourcewell competitive bid price. The other.
Got that. I'm saying
You
the
may, the
purchasing of
folding
our
machine.
machine. Yeah.
Folding machine, there was no bid process. We're buying what already
Yeah.
exists. I don't
It's a
know,
weird
Mr.
one.
Davis,
Well,
if
we're
that's,
just- we're just-
it's under $1,000.
We're just buying what we have.
Okay.
so
Yeah.
it's-
Right.
All right.
It's kind of an odd,
I want to bid on the three other machines that we also own.
So the first one, I'd be looking for a motion to approve the 5-year contract then with Quadrant Leasing for the prepaid mailing distribution and equipment for $311.74 monthly for 5 years?
mhm.
Okay.
I motion to approve the 5-year contract with Quadient Leasing USA for prepaid mailing distribution equipment agreement for $311.74 monthly for 5 years.
Support.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bryson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Brien,
Yes.
Commissioner Rourke,
Yes.
Commissioner Ross,
Yes.
Mayor Vandembosch.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, and then second, a motion to approve the purchase of the city's existing leased DS-35 folding machine for $697.38.
I'll make a motion that we approve the purchase of the city's existing DS-35 folding machine for the single sum of $697.38.
Support.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hendrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Brien,
Yes.
Commissioner Rourke,
Yes.
Commissioner Ross,
Yes.
Mayor Vandembosch,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, and now H, the vision insurance change approval.
Yes, Mayor and Commissioners, we are just asking for permission to actually do a conversion from our current Blue Cross Blue Shield bundled vision insurance to go with the Standard Insurance Company. We have a relationship with Standard in place here and have had for quite some time on other insurances. Our dilemma that we've had is when we're looking at renewing our annual policies, and when we've been bundled with Blue Cross Blue Shield, we have active employees, we have pre-65 retirees and post-65 retirees, and in the Blue Cross setting, it does not work well for others. I know that Commissioner Hendrick has had issues where retirees have called her, especially those that may be snowbirds and out of state. This is actually a better way to look at separating. We can peel away the vision and dental portion from Blue Cross. It actually provides a better insurance for all of our employees without all of the complications. It takes the max from $1,000 max to $2,000, and the cost is essentially near the current cost with less of the extra impediments put in place. We think it's a better product. We've met with the insurance carriers. But we have to bring this to you with the vision portion first, because if we don't separate it from Blue Cross, then there's a whole different action for renewing our annual coverage, which again, we've been meeting and trying to price shop. We're a small group here, and that is a difficulty for us too, with only 17, Katie, is that correct, participants? I believe, well, on the employee side, 5.
There's 6
on the employee Yeah.
side, I think there's like 21 on the retiree side.
Yeah, very small numbers. This gives us more portability again. The Standard is a very robust company that we've used in the past, and we just like to have permission to be able to separate this portion out. And then expect that at the next meeting on June 20th, we'll then have the dental prescription healthcare portion from you. But we believe that this is a better move for all of participants in the system as well as the city from a financial standpoint.
And heading down this road, separating vision today, and that we're gonna revisit dental down the road here, do you feel similarly about a plan for dental, that they're going to get a better coverage?
I think we're hopeful that we'll be able to do that. If not, though, the embedded coverage that we have with Blue Cross for dental is not bad. If the Standard or another company can provide us a comparable product. Again, we're also trying to look to make sure that all of our participants, retirees and actives, are not going to have to shop for different, providers. And this allows that to happen. We run that risk with Blue Cross that if we change even within a Blue product and we go to some of their other PPOs or things, we kind of get ourselves pigeonholed into causing more of a disturbance. So this is really to simplify, and if we can find that dental product that works, we're working through our agent, we'd like to bring that same thing. We may not be able to do it at this point, but the Blue Cross connection with dental is not as cumbersome or problematic as the vision piece is. Especially a lot of our retirees. They're using the vision piece more and more, so.
Then we're looking for a motion to approve the removal of vision insurance from Blue Cross, moving it to the Standard Insurance Company.
So moved.
Support.
Okay, any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Brien.
Yes.
Commissioner Rourke.
Yes.
Commissioner Ross.
Yes.
Mayor Vandenbosch.
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson.
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, on to administrative reports, and first for the city attorney.
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you. All right, city manager.
Utilizing Mr. Davis's time as well as mine, thank you very much. As you're all aware, there has been a lot of activity going on. This has been a very, very busy past 2 to 3 weeks, probably more so than the past 2 to 3 months. It's warm, we're in construction, weather hasn't always cooperated with us, but as you know, the tot lot is the first issue I want to talk about. We, again, very fortunate to have received that T-Mobile grant of $50,000. Just over $42,000 of that was used to buy the equipment. A very robust, as now we can see, even bigger playscape than it looked on paperwork to us. It's beautiful, it's wonderful, and it's great to have it. When it was unboxed, I think now we all can realize the scale of this going, this could have been an impossible task for our DPW employees to do just because of our staff. We only have 4 full-time employees, actually 3 currently, and 1 part-time. And how are we going to do all of the other work? Now, we thought we could have. We thought it would have been a modular setup. It was not your typical Lincoln Log or Lego set coming out of the box. We were fortunate to be able to find a company that had this opening to come in and bridge that, still using the remaining funds from T-Mobile and using some other recreation village funds and restricted funds that we had from the Community Foundation. So we're eager and looking forward to next week when hopefully the weather will cooperate and we can get some of the surface materials in. We have to put some cushioning underneath there, so there'll be a product that goes underneath. And once we have that done, we'd like to look at some dates in the very immediate future. I would say likely this probably would be, here, we're running out of time. We could possibly get this done in late June to stay away from the the 4th of July holiday. We'd like to have a small rededication and ribbon cutting with the commission and the community. So I hope you all agree with that. We'll try to base those dates upon the completion and the materials in. We'll open it, fully to everyone ahead of time. Sean, if we catch you climbing over the fence, it's okay. It's exciting, but I want everybody to be able to celebrate this, and I think if you all agree, a small little ribbon cutting piece and, a rededication to the community would be appropriate.
Can I ask a couple questions then?
Yeah.
I love this whole thing, but we've had trouble in the past. I know we're having trouble elsewhere. 2 things. I know I talked to Jeff a little bit. I ran into him. He said he is going to put a pad in there, cement pad, so that we can get a porta-john over there.
Yes.
And then the other thing would be some type of camera system, because that one there has been
Yeah.
spray painted, vandalized year after year.
I'm going to cover the camera issue coming up soon.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I think I'm going there right now. So I want to talk about the issue with the bathrooms near the beach. There was a lot of confusion and as you've all seen, many, many posts on Facebook. Some were fairly close to being factual, most of them were not. We have two sets of bathrooms in the beach area. We have the beach restrooms, which are the smaller, older restrooms that are the closest to the beach. They're located kind of behind the beach area. And we have the pavilion and pavilion bathrooms. There seemed to be some confusion about what actually happened, what was damaged, what was vandalized. What happened is we had two incidents. They may have been the same, but two different portions of an incident, I should say. Unknown perpetrators went into both the men's and women's pavilion restrooms and tore, first of all, the soap dispensers off the wall, damaged them beyond any repair, and spread the soap contents all over the floors, the sinks, the walls. And they also went into the toilet facilities and threw every type of material you can imagine, and some human waste material on top of that, rendering all of the bathrooms, both men's and ladies, unusable. It's very frustrating. It took our DPW staff hours and hours, about 5 hours on one day, to clean up both messes, to the point that we actually had employees who were physically getting sick because of the condition. There is no excuse for people doing this. And the camera issue in question came up. Unfortunately, for damage done inside of these restrooms, surveillance cameras outside would probably have not helped us, because there are a lot of users of these bathrooms. And if you were able to maybe determine a time frame, and then maybe you could go through and start to individualize, you potentially could see a pattern on a camera. But in all likelihood, in talking with the police chief, that may be very difficult. So what we had to do was to close the bathrooms at the pavilion, and it caused an uproar on Facebook that there were no bathrooms and people had nowhere to go and people were changing. There were bathrooms still there. Unfortunately, some people chose not to use those bathrooms and do what they needed to do outside, and also to change clothes and do everything outside. I can't explain human nature. None of us can, of why people would do that. But I want to stress the importance is there were other bathroom facilities that were open. Now, this comes a week after Facebook posts that many of us spoke about why aren't the bathrooms open? Why aren't the bathrooms open? The restrooms traditionally always open on the Friday before Memorial Day. I know we had decent weather the week before, but they weren't open because we didn't have beach attendants. We still, today don't have all of our beach attendants working because they're high school students and they're out of school this week. Next week, we'll see the return of more beach attendants. So we had limited staff, and now I hope that people can understand why we can't just open all of the restrooms at once. It's going to be one set or another from time to time because of staff. We've changed our protocol of having our beach attendants now go in on a regular basis. We'd like to have that done every half an hour, but we know they have other tasks to do at least every hour and go in and kind of do a bathroom check. So maybe that will help us know that nothing's been done here. The police department is becoming more engaged when they can of going through there regularly and also getting out and checking also the men's room, except we have a female officer. So we also have that balance that we have to be careful on a gender side of things of people walking in. But we can't put cameras inside the bathrooms. We are looking, and we had a very productive meeting yesterday here, and we'll have a couple of other meetings with vendors on enhanced camera systems to be able to put up, including the tot lot and other areas. I will tell you, though, from a practical experience in a number of communities, it still does not guarantee that you will prevent vandalism, because people are going to unfortunately do these type of things. But if it can be a deterrent, if it helps us identify somebody, and if people will speak up, if you see something, say something. Yeah. It seems that there was a pattern to this vandalism that happened at the pavilion restrooms, that it may have certainly been the same person doing the same thing. We, again, previously had an issue with a porta-john that was out a week before that was pretty much destroyed. There is probably likely a person or a few persons that are in on the same activities. We'd love more than anything to be able to catch the perpetrators. And we are taking some steps right now. I'm not going to disclose the police tactics because I think that would be counterproductive. But we're watching, actively, both persons and otherwise. We're going to look and bring some enhancements to the commission. They're not cheap because we have to have a reliance on upgraded cameras that are based on mobile technology and those type of things, and reliable technology, but we want to enhance what we have. So again, we make these investments, we provide these things, you know, as everybody's grandma used to say, this is why we can't have nice things. Unfortunately, this is why we can't have nice things. This is why we can't leave bathrooms open without attendants being there. We don't want to penalize our residents or any users, but we have to have these watchful eyes. And, you know, we're going to have occasions in the beach area where we may only have the beach restrooms open. And we're going to get some signage saying for the pavilion restrooms, if these restrooms are closed, please use the adjacent beach restrooms. And vice versa, if the beach restrooms are closed, please use, you know, that'll at least help take care of the problem of what's happening on the outside when they're closed. We're going to look at the enhanced cameras, the changes in our protocols for our staff, the beach attendants, our part-time and seasonal employees, our DPW. Everybody is eyes on. If you're driving by seeing it, report it. And unfortunately, we've had issues at the parklet and smaller, you know, people do things they shouldn't do. But if somebody sees something suspicious, please don't post it on Facebook and hope that we see it and hear about it. Contact the police department, call 911. They take emergency and non-emergency calls. If it's looking like it's not right, let's have it checked out. Let's look into it. So, you know, we're hopeful we can have some other options on the table here to the near future for some security enhancements and things. But right now, you know, we're doing the best that we can. And I also, again, want to let everyone know that we did just recently hire a replacement DPW employee. That person's on board. Our summer help that we get, usually our high school students or college students, will be returning to us next week and the week after, and we're trying to reinforce our staff. We are still hiring. We are still taking applications and looking for folks. We've struggled, like every other community and every other business, and getting people who really want to work at a decent wage, at a decent job, you know, for seasonal help. So if you know somebody that's looking for, you know, seasonal job, we still have openings, and please contact City Hall and apply. We have a lot of exciting summer events coming up. We had a very productive meeting with Maritime Days Committee. This is now their second year into a revised and changed. They want to expand activities. You will see their application coming before us at likely the next meeting for consideration. And we're glad that they are, you know, taking a different direction. They're always looking for volunteers. So if you're interested, we can connect you with the people on the Maritime Days Committee. Concerts and other events are going to be coming. Downtown businesses are going to be doing special activities and events. Support your community. Get out there and contribute, volunteer, and let's all do our parts to make our community even stronger. Exciting, and appreciate the council's support on the PASER study. We are eager to create this capital improvement plan that addresses for our residents. These are the streets that need to be addressed. These are the streets that are going to be addressed in the water project. These are the streets that are going to be addressed on a 5-year, 10-year, 15-year, long-term plan, as well as other infrastructure. We need to address issues with buildings and facilities. I'm starting to reach out to commissioners to do our little tour of our facilities. We've had deferred maintenance for a very long time, and it's showing. And now we're putting a solid, capital, workable plan together. This is not something that's a tax increase to the residents. This is something that will be budgeted on an annual basis and moving forward in 5, 10, 15, and 20-year timeframes. So when it comes time to replace a roof, we've already put money aside. We have a plan. So there's a lot of activity, and residents, please bear with us. You will see engineering staff and DPW staff and people out evaluating roads, water, sewer, street signs, garbage cans, all of these things in the city. And if you have questions, by all means, call us. Hope that everybody had an enjoyable Memorial Day and Memorial Day weekend. The parade, sometimes the water gets shut off right before the parade starts, and that works out okay. So Jesse and all the volunteers and you know, all of our folks that help make that great, we appreciate that. July 4th, is our next big holiday coming up, and July 4th would normally fall on our first meeting of the month for July. We don't necessarily have to take action this evening. We can still do something on the 20th. But keep in mind, it's traditional for us to cancel one meeting in July and have only one meeting. I just want to put this forward. We do have a regular scheduled meeting also on the 18th, but I'm going to ask the council, or the commission, excuse me, to consider, at least thinking this way in preparation for our next meeting, of looking at canceling both of the meetings on the 4th and the 18th and scheduling a meeting on the 11th. I know that maybe not all of you can make it. However, with this safe drinking water project, the bids are received here on the 26th of June, and they have to be reviewed, and a recommendation and resolution approved by the commission and submitted to Eagle at the state by June 12th. That's not our time frame. That's the time frame that Eagle has set for us. With no meeting on July 4th, the 11th would be the next Thursday. Certainly, commission can do any other night, but we have to have some action done on that resolution and related documents that have to be approved and sent to the state by Friday the 12th. So if there's consideration for the 11th, that would be much appreciated, but that is food for thought for all of you, and we'll have it on the agenda for the 20th of action to take. I've covered a lot. I surely have more. The last parting thing is I just want you all to know that Mr. Davis and I had a marathon meeting on 3 pages of items last week, and we're picking them off right and left on issues for the city. Very productive, very rewarding on what we're seeing on some of the blight and dangerous building issues. Our approach of being a little more aggressive but yet willing to work with residents is working for us. We're seeing a lot of compliance come in, but we do have some problem locations that ultimately will probably have to be resolved by the issuance of a citation or additional court action, and we'll bring those to you. We want to work with everyone, but they have to be willing to work with us, and we've got a few folks that just don't want to do that. But again, we make every effort we can to work with folks. So a lot of stuff. I can answer any questions. I've got a little breath left.
Ding.
I have one quick question. Just off the top of your head, do you know when is the next date that the commission needs to take any type of action on the charter amendment process?
They're on the next
They
agenda.
will be on June 20th.
Okay.
We're still timely.
And then just to kind of maybe put a bug in everyone's ear, maybe we want to think about a informational type meeting for the public in early fall.
Got it.
And that was one of the items that Mr. Davis and I had discussed to make sure we're on track with getting things approved for that ballot. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good question. I've wore you out.
I got a question. The hanging baskets that we always have downtown, is that getting changed without city commission? Because I see planter boxes putting out in the sidewalk. We talked about the blocking and the walking and ADA compliance, and these are only on the
West side.
east-west side. And
No,
not-
they're still doing hanging baskets. However, there is a project coordinated with the businesses that they're doing some planter boxes. We're also preparing a letter that we're going to hand deliver to all of the businesses, reminding them of what the clearance and setbacks are for planters, flower pots, signs, furniture, because some people may not know, others forget, some try to press it a little bit. So we're preparing a letter we're going to hand deliver to everyone. And I do have one last thing. Social district meeting that we had a couple of weeks ago, I have a follow-up, went very well. It looks like we're going to have all but one licensed business participating. So
It just looked like it was getting crowded down there, so.
Okay. If nothing else, then we'll move on to reports from department heads. And anything from city clerk?
Sure, one moment, please.
Well, in the meantime,
please stand
And
up.
with that, everyone's leaving.
yeah.
Tired of hearing me talk, that's why.
No, that'd be me.
Bye, thank you, guys.
Do you have anything, Katie?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Evening.
Just busy.
Oh, I betcha.
I wish we could have helped them, but there's nothing.
You can, yeah.
I just have a few quick things, Madam Mayor. To elaborate a little bit on the social district status that City Manager Atkins spoke about. After that very productive meeting we had with the establishment owners, I did hear back from a few of them. One additional has received their permit. We're just waiting on them to come in and sign their agreement with the city. I did speak with 2 others. They are sending in their paperwork to get on board with that. City Manager Atkins had stated we're without one that was at our meeting in that social district. So once that gets rolling, and I think we'll be at 50 or 60% of the eligible establishments once they all get on board. I did check today, they don't have their permits yet, the 2 that said they sent them in, but one does. With that, at that meeting, there were some suggested adjustments to the social district by the establishment owners that we'll probably bring to the commission. After having another discussion with them, once they're all on board, we'll have to make some changes, I think, just to make it more effective for everybody. So hopefully we can bring that to you guys in July. The next one, I have a May burial count at the cemetery, 2 full burials and 3 urns. And finally, everybody's favorite topic, because it's coming up again, elections. I am in election mode again. I was hoping I could take that bigger breath, but it is upon us. I know it's only June, but we are starting. I've attended an election cycle training that is a required continuing education credit for my accreditation to administer elections. Last week at the county, it was very productive, a lot of good information thrown around by multiple clerks in the county, by the Bureau of Elections, provided us with great information on what's coming up, and make sure we're meeting all of our deadlines coming with ballots and everything else. We did have an election commission meeting before our city commission meeting tonight that authorized a absent voter counting board, which I think will be beneficial to the city and the registered voters here to help move you through the polling place on election day. I think it'll be way more productive for the November election because it'll be big. This is probably one of the biggest elections we have seen in our lifetime and probably will see for a while, I do believe. So this will be our test run with it here in August. And I think it's going to work out more beneficial for all of us. There are some things coming with election security. There are some concerns over it nationwide with threats to elections and physical location security as well. Had a clerk's luncheon today, our quarterly clerk's luncheon. The St. Clair Emergency Management was there. They're providing a tabletop exercise sometime in early fall for clerks to attend regarding election security on multiple fronts that I think will be very beneficial for us to attend as well. And also some grant opportunities to enhance security throughout polling locations in the county. There's not a lot of money in it, but it is something. I had reached out a couple of months ago regarding this for 2 additional cameras, one in our storage room here to kind of keep an eye on our closets that house our election materials, and also one in our conference room, which is where our absent voter counting board will more than likely be during those elections. I was told to hold off on it because a bigger project was probably coming around that was announced today at our meeting. Again, not a lot of funding, but it is something that will hopefully bring us some cameras in here and give us a little bit of money in order to do that as well. Tabulator request, I did hear back from the county. It is going in front of the County Board of Commissioners at their June 20th meeting. It does not qualify for ARPA funds, so they are going to request lost revenue funds for that purchase. Hopefully we will hear good news from that on the 21st, and we can get those ordered. Bad news with that is, though, we would not be able to use them for the August election. The timeline just does not add up, because going into my next thing, our public accuracy testing is scheduled for June 24th at 5 p.m. I'll send out an email to my other 2 board members tomorrow regarding that. We just couldn't meet the timeline. If they're approved from the county to order them 2 to 3 weeks out, and we can't push that timeline for that public accuracy testing any further. But if approved, we'll have those available for November, which I think is going to be more beneficial anyway. More voters come out for that. Last but not least, in elections, if anybody is interested, we are always looking for election inspectors. So you can fill out that application online. If you don't have access to the internet, please come to the office, see me, see Deputy Clerk Carol Brown, They will get you an application, you will turn it in, and we'd love to have you on board. We also as well just approved a pay increase for election inspectors at our election commission meeting, which was also part of the approved budget. And that is all I have.
Can I ask one question? When did the absentee balance go out?
I believe I had a nice little cheat sheet.
Sorry.
They are due to be delivered to us by June 22nd from the county clerk.
Okay.
I want to say it is the following Friday, so
Right.
28th.
Yeah.
I believe they're due to go out. I think we're going to hit that spot when we
right.
receive them that week before, starting the week of the 24th. We'll start getting those out
Okay.
to voters.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. You good? Okay, so now we'll move on to the Commissioner Privilege Liaison Reports. And we'll start with Commissioner Clausen.
Well, the planning commission had a meeting, and we were reviewing one of the applications, and there was talk about parking lots, and that we didn't have an ordinance for parking lots. Well,
We do.
I wanted to look in my archives, because I do have the city ordinance there, but I recall that there's a couple of ordinances, or a couple of parking lots that were brought to us back when I was working for the city, and we did have a parking lot ordinance size, how to enter and do other stuff with it. So I'm gonna look it up, but there was some question about, we don't have a parking lot ordinance. So, and that's all I have right now. I just thank you for, and enjoy the holiday while you can. These storms are coming so fast and furious, you just, I got stuck in the middle of that one up in St. Clair at about 5 o'clock, and then I said, I'm gonna walk over to this other store, and I looked down the way, and then the wind came, and then all I seen was this wall of water come. So, just watch yourselves, because we want everybody to be safe, and these storms aren't, they can kill, so, thank you.
Commissioner
I have
Bryson.
nothing tonight, thanks.
Commissioner O'Brien.
Couple of things here. Quick thanks to the city staff here for all this fine work, and really love hearing new grant opportunities coming up. It really does add up, the work that you all have done for the city as a whole. Thank you for consistently taking care of so much. I do want to point out, as the city manager mentioned in his report, a lot of our beach attendants, high school kids, please don't make them go into horribly deranged bathrooms. That's not fair to these kids. That's not right. I mean, it's one thing to do it to the city staff. It's one thing to do it to the city, but it's going to be messing with kids now. And, you know, that's just sad. Please don't do that anymore. Next, I wanted to comment as well, with these bathrooms and other issues, we do get a plethora of Facebook comments. If you come in and get up to that podium during public comment, the statements go into our record, right? We review it, we have to prove it as minutes, and so we have to read it multiple times. So please come in and give us more things to put on our record. But it has a more impact when it's set up at the podium rather than when it's set on Facebook. And we can get you information and start resolving situations in here as well. And finally, congratulations to all our recent graduates from Marine City High. We just had kind of celebrations recently, and you know, a lot of folks are having graduate parties and celebrating kind of the next steps, and it's always a wonderful time of year. So congratulations. And that's it for me.
Thank you. Commissioner Ross.
You stole my first one, but I'm going to say it anyway. Congrats to all the Marine City High School and local graduates in general. I was so proud to just see what great kids we have coming out of high school right now. I was a volunteer at the senior all-night party. Saw your boy there, amongst others. But anyway, this is just a great group of kids. And, I mean, they weren't cliquey. They weren't arguing or bickering. It was just it was really great to see, and an example of a great subsection of humanity. I have a lot of faith in our children. Congrats to Mariner Drama for the completion of their season and show, The Wizard of Oz. It was really great. I was recently able to attend their end-of-year banquet, and it was, again, just so great to see both the talent that we have in this area and, all the love and respect they have for one another. And that was just a very nice thing to see. Again, honor and respect to all of our veterans, honoring the 80th anniversary, I understand, of D-Day. The Little Bubble Man event that was approved during the consent agenda, that is the 9th, this Sunday, noon to 4, downtown. It'll be at 401 South Water Street. I think that's Grant Park. In any case, should be a really cool event. We've bought his products before, and this is a great guy who did a lot of this on his own, and he's got really great products, and it should be a fun time. Thanks for everybody who helped with the Memorial Day parade. It was neat for me because I had an 8th grader and a graduating senior that's the only time they'll be marching together ever. So that was very nice. And again, it was just a wonderful event. Thanks to Jesse and the DPW police who helped put that on. Don't forget to ask a member of the Historical Society, which would be historicalsocietyofmarincity.org. They have this Paint the Town initiative, and to benefit that, this is, sorry, I stole one from the mayor. To benefit that, it's a grant program to paint your house, to fund paint and other supplies for it. Information is on that website, historicalsocietyofmarincity.org. They're drawing for this, what they've got is these tickets that will benefit the Paint the Town for a voucher to stay at the Grand Hotel. It's worth a particular amount of money, I can't remember. Do you know what it is? $1,500, yeah. Pretty good. I think the tickets are $20. I have some for sale if anybody needs them, but hit anybody up from the Historical Society or go to the website to do this, and the drawing will be on August 4th. And lastly, thanks as always to all the city staff for all the hard work that you did looking up a phone system in the folder and all of the mail things that needed to be looked up. And this is a lot of work, managing a city. Thanks, Scott and the attorney, for all the work you guys do as well. Just, you guys are great, and I, again, want to just reiterate my appreciation for you all. Again, to reiterate what Commissioner O'Brien said, the public parks are all of our property. I mean, this is something that we should be looking after. So, again, if you see something, say something, and if you, have any leads or know anything about this, kids will be kids, sure. But, a lesson learned is also a valuable thing for a kid to have. So, let's work together to, bring an end to this and help them understand, what life is all about, and instead of, just kind of senselessly complaining into a void. Again, call the city offices, call the DPW, call the police. Any of them could help with that. Again, if you respect the city's property, you're effectively just respecting your own property. This is something that we all have. Have a safe and pleasant weekend, and that is all.
Thank you. Commissioner Rourke.
Right, I just got a couple of things. I'd just like everybody to know that there's going to be a pop-up food pantry. The county is going to have a mobile food pantry at the Living Faith Lutheran Church, 310 South Parker, from 11 to 12 on Friday, June 21st. And that'll be from 11 to 12. And the other thing is the Marine City Library has a lot of events, including a Lego Club for children, and their next event is the 14th of June from 3 to 4 p.m. If you have kids, and it's a good thing to occupy them and fun things to do. So that's it.
Commissioner Hendrick.
All right, I just got one thing, and it's the Memorial Day Parade. Been working with Jesse White in the Lions Club the last couple of years, and I just want to thank Jesse for putting on a beautiful memorial every year. And then the rest of us help him with the mess tent, which has been really good. So the Marine City Grill, they donate all the hot dogs that we give away. Tim's Party Store this year donated all the bottled water. VG's gave us all the buns. The Lions Club, we used all their tents and grills and everything else that they had. The city staff helped us with any electrical and all that. all the volunteers we had, the fire department stores the hot dogs, they bring them down. Jim Heslop, he's out there cooking, him and his wife and his son were all cooking. So, you know, it was a good event, everybody participated in it, and we gave over 300 hot dogs away, even for the weather. So we did really well, and people were very nice to donate money back. That helps to buy flags and stuff for the graves next year. The Boy Scouts help out, the band was nice, we always feed them first. And it was just a really nice day. It turned out, as soon as we put the tents up to start setting up, the rain quit. The rest of the day was nice, so it turned out really, really well. So I just want to thank all the volunteers that help in that endeavor to put that on every year. So that's it.
Thank you. All right, I just have a few things. First, I want to say I was able to attend the Community Mental Health ribbon cutting on Broadway Street on May 29th. And one of the statistics they had given out was that originally when Community Mental Health had opened up their downriver location here in Marine City, they had about 300 people they were servicing. They're now up to about 1,000.
That's good.
So the fact that we have 2 locations here in Marine City serving the downriver area, we are very fortunate. And absolutely anybody, if you think you need services, anything, please contact them and reach out. I want to congratulate the Marine City class of 2024. And then I had announced about the boys baseball team last time, and I learned about some other teams that I just want to give recognition to as well. The Marine City, the varsity tennis, they are the MAC Silver champions. The varsity boys track are the MAC Blue champions. Varsity softball is the MAC Blue champions. And we did have 6 students that went on to complete with the Michigan High School Athletic Association track state final. I don't know how they did, but I will find that out and update everybody. I received a lot of compliments on the new banners that are gone up on Water Street. And I would also like to remind everybody that if you need a packet for our meeting or just the agenda, if you're not able to print them or have any kind of web issues, please come to the city offices. They're more than happy to provide that information for you, the full packet, or if you just want an agenda sheet ahead of time to see what's on there, please come to city offices and they will help you with that. And with that, now we would like to go into closed session. City Commission will enter into a closed session pursuant to MCL 15.6268E to consult with the city attorney regarding trial settlement strategy in connection with Holly Tatman versus the City of Marine City. We'll be moving closed session to the conference room if anybody would like to stay, and then we'll return back to the Guy Center once the closed session has completed and we enter back into open session. You're more than welcome to stay here in the building until the closed session is over. There may or may not be any action taken upon returning back into open session. And with that, I need a motion to enter into closed session.
I'll make a motion, we enter into closed session after a 5-minute recess.
Support.
All right. No discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner O'Brien.
Yes.
Commissioner Rourke.
Yes.
Commissioner Ross.
Yes.
Mayor Vandenbosch.
Yes.
Commissioner Bryce.
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Motion carried.